taşıyıcısıdır. Bir ülke, bir şehir, bir nesil. Her yeni günle birlikte yeniden doğar. Ama bazı değişimler yalnızca zamanla değil, hayallerle inşa edilir. Bilgi, sanat ve teknoloji hepsi bir araya geldiğinde gelecek şekillenir. Bazıları bilimle geleceği inşa eder, bazıları sanatla ve bazıları hayallerini teknolojiyle yarına taşır. Geçmiş, geleceğe ilham verir ve her büyük vizyon tarihin içinden yükselir.
Geçmişteki anılarımızı yad ederken geleceğe dair umutlarımızı da birlikte büyütelim. Bu topraklar siz gençlerle daha da yeşerecek.
Bazı insanlar sadece yaşadıkları zamanı değil, geleceğe de iz bırakır. Aramızdan ayrılışının 21. yılında Sakıp Sabancı'yı Uluslararası Araştırma Ödülleri ile anıyoruz.
Kıymetli devlet büyüklerimiz,
Esteemed statesmen, valuable guests, welcome to the Sakıp Sabancı International Research Award Ceremony. I am Baran Tarım, a second-year student at Sabancı University Molecular Biology, Genetics and Bioengineering program. I'm continuing my education with the Outstanding Achievement Scholarship offered by Sabancı University. I'm little excited, so welcome once again. First of all, in order to deliver the opening speech, I would like to invite Ms. Güler Sabancı to your presence, the Sabancı University Board of Trustees founding chairwoman.
Evet, Sayın Valim,
Esteemed Governor, distinguished councils, distinguished rectors,
merhum Sakıp Sabancı'nın kıymetli ailesi,
valuable members of the family of late Sakıp Sabancı, valuable friends, distinguished guests,
anlamlı günümüzde bizleri yalnız bırakmayıp
I would like to thank you for being with us on this special and meaningful day, and thank you very much.
Mütevelli adına sevgi ve saygıyla selam.
I would like to greet you all with love and respect on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Sabancı University. I am pleased to come together with you on the 21st commemoration of the passing of Sakıp Sabancı, the honorary president of our university, whose vision, valuable ideas, and leadership have contributed greatly to the Sabancı Group's growth to the present day. Throughout his life, Mr. Sakıp attached great importance to education, science, and social development. He believed that Turkey's development would be possible with the contribution of qualified education and free thinking and well-equipped individuals. He saw education not only as the key to individual success, but also as the most powerful tool that enables societies to reach a brighter future.
Ülkesine bağlı,
As a person who was devoted to his country and attached great importance to unity and togetherness, and we were discussing this together with our governor, everyone knows how much he loved his country. And Mr. Sakıp made great efforts for Turkey to advance towards the goal of contemporary civilizations as it deserved. Well, nothing could stop him from working and producing. His ideas and values have always been a light on our path. Our duty, incumbent upon our shoulders, is to work harder than ever in order to ensure that this light never goes out. We remember Sakıp Sabancı with longing and compassion, and in line with his will, we give importance and support to scientific research that benefits society. Among our common dreams during the establishment of Sakıp Sabancı University was that it would not only be a knowledge transmitting institution, but this university would also be a respected institution that produces questions, investigates, and offers solutions to problems. This was our target, our goal. When he left us, our university was only in its 5th year. During that period, we continued to work hard together and also saw that we could make great progress in such a short time. Today, in the 25 years we have left behind, well, we are marking 25th year of our establishment. We stand before you with pride of having realized our common dreams, and we also have the belief that we can do even much better. Distinguished guests, as one of the leading research universities in our country and the world, Sabancı University carries out studies that emphasize its pioneering position with transformative effects on science and society. With our philosophy of creating and developing together, we continue our studies with all our might in the light of science. That's why, once again, I would like to thank all the members of our faculty. With our interdisciplinary education approach, we continue to be a competitive, participatory, and society-contributing university on a global scale. Since its establishment, Sabancı University continues its progress as a young but self-confident institution with over 9,000 scientific publications by valuable academics and researchers. And numerous projects have been carried out at national and international levels in academy, industry collaborations. And we have nearly 19,000 undergrad graduates. We are a young but a self-confident institution, and we go forward with our progress. With these awards, which started in 2006, a separate fund was established in the will of the late Sakıp Sabancı for this first and only award program given internationally in the field of social sciences in Turkey. Sakıp Sabancı International Research Awards, which are realized with the contributions of this fund in question, support young academics and research in the field of social sciences while encouraging original and innovative studies to be carried out. Since the onset of the award program, more than 600 articles from 40 countries were carefully examined by our valuable jury heads and members. Young researchers and world-renowned scientists in many different fields, from economics to sociology, from Turkish and Islamic art to Turkish history, were supported thanks to this fund. Last year, the theme of the award program was redesigning values in a transforming world order. What to protect, what to re-evaluate and recognize. That was the theme. In the era we live in, we observe that change is happening faster than ever and values are being reshaped. As science, politics, economy, culture, and social structures are undergoing transformation, the question of which values we should protect and which ones we should rethink is of great importance. Tonight, we will present our special jury award to one of the scientists who has made the most original and valuable contribution to the award program theme in the world. In addition, we will announce the 3 valuable researchers and their owners who were deemed worthy of the article award from young scientists who applied for our award with their research. I congratulate each of them in advance and thank them for their contributions. On this occasion, I would like to thank Güler Sabancı, who has led our award process so far, and wish success to
liderlik edecek olan Sabancı Üniversitesi Mütevelli Heyeti üyemiz
Melisa Sabancı Tapan, a member of the Sabancı University Board of Trustees, who will take over Sevil Hanım's position and will lead the ceremony process from now on. I also would like to
olduklarına yürekten inanıyorum.
thank
Hiç esirgemeyen Doktor Dilek Sabancı,
Dr. Dilek Sabancı and Türkan Sabancı for their unwavering support, although they are not with us today. Our rector, Yusuf Leblebici, and our Secretary General, Ali Çalışkan, and our professor, Betül Çelik, who chaired this year's jury, and our international jury members attending both from Turkey and abroad. I would like to thank every one of them for their efforts. In addition, while thanking the Istanbul Policy Center for its significant contributions to the award program, I would like to thank Senem Aydın Düzgit for her valuable contributions. I also would like to respectfully commemorate Professor Fuat Keman, whom we lost last year. He indeed contributed remarkably to our university, and he also has made great efforts to bring this award program to this day. I know that his precious family is with us, and I also wish patience to his precious family, and we remember and commemorate him with longing and respect.
Atatürk'ün dünyada her şey için
Inspired by the words of the great leader Atatürk, for everything in the world, for materiality, for spirituality, for life, the most genuine guide is science. We embrace our republic heritage, whose foundations are built on science and reason, and continue to work tirelessly in the light of science. On this occasion, I also would like to announce the research topic for the next year award ceremony. We have determined the topic of the 2026 Sakıp Sabancı International Research Awards as Rethinking Governance and Borders, Planetary Realities, Rethinking Governance and Borders. Well, when we think of the world that we live in, I do believe this theme is to the point. And I also wish success in advance to the young scientists who will apply for the award and inspire original and innovative studies with their research. Once again, I would like to thank you all for being with us on such a meaningful day, for not leaving us alone. Thank you very much. And all together, we will be celebrating this important event when important awards will be given to them. I'm excited as much as you are. Welcome once again.
Sayın Güler Sabancı konuşması için
We thank Ms. Güler Sabancı for her speech. Now, if you wish, let's briefly recall the Sakıp Sabancı International Research Awards.
Değerli konuklar,
Distinguished guests,
beklediğimiz ana geldi.
now we have come to the point which we have been eagerly waiting for. In order to present the recent decision of the jury, I invite the head of the jury, Ayşe Betül Çelik, to the stage, please.
Kurucu Mütevelli Heyeti Başkanımız Sayın
Ms. Güler Sabancı, our founding chairwoman of the Board of Trustees, valuable members of the Sabancı family, valuable members of Sabancı University, distinguished guests, dear students and graduates. I would like to welcome you all on this meaningful ceremony which we have organized to perpetuate the memory of the late Sakıp Sabancı and to present Sakıp Sabancı International Research Awards which reflect his vision. As we commemorate him with respect and longing on the 21st commemoration of his passing away, we remember his belief in social sciences and his contributions to this field.
Süreci boyunca büyük bir titizlikle değerlendirme yapıldı.
Throughout this award process, our expert juries meticulously assessed the applications. On behalf of Sabancı University, I would like to thank them very much. By taking this opportunity, I also would like to pay our tribute to our dear friend and former Vice Rector, Professor Dr. Fuat Keman, who served as a jury member for many years and unfortunately passed away. This year's theme is reimagining values in a transforming world order. What should be preserved, what should be reassessed and redefined was chosen to encourage critical reflection on the values that shape our world.
Teknolojik ilerleme ve artan küresel bağlantılık çağında
In this era of rapid change, disruption, technological progress, and increasing global interconnectedness, there is debate about whether the values that guide individuals, groups, nations, and institutions need a critical reassessment. In this context, the questions that particularly stood out in this year's research were as follows. In light of today's realities, which values from the past need to be preserved and which need to be re-evaluated, and which principles need to be completely redefined in order to respond to current challenges and provide frameworks for understanding the world? This year, we received a large number of applications from various social science disciplines with scientific, original, empirical, and theoretical approaches. As jury, we evaluated these applications on the basis of their scientific excellence, originality, relevance to this year's theme, and contributions to the field. The three winning research projects stood out because they captured the essence of the questions raised by the theme, opened up new areas of thinking in light of these questions, and presented conceptually and methodologically strong scientific work.
ve güçlü bilimsel katkılarından dolayı
We would like to congratulate the winners for their strong scientific contributions, and we also would like to thank all the researchers who participated in this important debate.
herhangi bir sıralama olmadığını
Well,
kısaca vurgulamak.
I would like to briefly emphasize why these projects are important works in no particular order.
Kurumsal amaç ile
Dr. Uğur Aytaç, what's the point of social media? Aligning corporate purpose with democratic values argues that in an age where social media has become the modern public sphere, we need to rethink the purpose of tech giants. And he is identifying those tech giants, and he says that the connection structures should be redefined in their legal obligations in line with the democratic principles and shape their governance structures to prioritize social good over profit. The jury found it worthy of the award for combining abstract discussions of corporate power with concrete strategies for reform, forcing us to confront the question as follows. Can we reassess the responsibilities of private companies to shape our digital lives while preserving the principles of free expression? Uğur Aytaç received his BA in Philosophy and Economics from Boğaziçi University and his MA in the same field from the University of Beirut, and he got his PhD in Politics Theory from the University of Amsterdam in 2021. He is currently an assistant professor at the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies at the University of Utrecht. His research interests are as follows: democracy, legitimacy, power and domination, big technology, workers' resistance, ideology, political realism in the field of political theory. We would like to, and I would like to congratulate Uğur Aytaç for his work.
Sabancı Üniversitesi'nden
Cenk Özbay from Sabancı University, with its work When Values Skirmish, Religion, Sexuality, and the End of the Mutual Exclusion, tackles one of the most complex debates of our time and raises a fundamental question. Can religious traditions, often seen as obstacles to progressive values, contribute to the formation of inclusive and egalitarian cultures? The study examines the democratic transformation in Turkey and explores how faith-based understanding centered on tolerance and respect can offer an alternative way of coexistence. The jury recognized this research for refusing to create a false dichotomy between tradition and progress, instead advocating for the preservation of ethical religious teachings while redefining the role of these values in building a pluralistic society. Dr. Cenk Özbay has been a faculty member at Sabancı University Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences since 2006. He received his bachelor's and master's degree in sociology from Boğaziçi University and his PhD in sociology from the University of Southern California, Los Angeles. Özbay, who researches and lectures on gender and sexuality, masculinities, the body, cities, culture, and neoliberalism, has published numerous articles on these topics in national and international academic journals. We would like to congratulate Cenk Özbay for his work.
Sydney Üniversitesi'nden Vafa Ghazavi'nin Türk Dünyada
Restless Freedom in a Broken World by Dr. Vafa Ghazavi of the University of Sydney addresses a critical issue that is often overlooked: the ethical contradictions inherent in economic and technological progress. While societies in one part of the world benefit from growth and innovation, these achievements are often gained at the expense of labor exploitation and environmental destruction elsewhere. This research encourages us to ask the following question. By calling for a fundamental reassessment of economic progress, this study not only criticizes the status quo but also proposes new ethical frameworks for global justice. The jury found it worthy of the prize as a powerful invitation to rethink progress not only in terms of what we build, but how and for whom we build it. Vafa Ghazavi is a political theorist and public policy researcher focusing on the ethical dimensions of social, political, and economic life. From 2021 to 2025, he was the first executive director for research and policy at the James Martin Institute for Public Policy.
akademik eğitimini Sydney Üniversitesi'nde tamamlamış ve burada üniversite
Completed her academic studies at the University of Sydney, where she was awarded the University of Medal, and he completed his master's degree in public administration at Harvard University as Fulbright Scholar and then got his PhD at Oxford University as a John Monash Scholar. I congratulate Dr. Vafa Ghazavi on his work. First of all,
değerli akademisyenlerimizi sahneye davet
I would like to invite our award-winning academics to the stage, please.
Şimdi de
And now I would like to invite Ms. Sevil Sabancı and Senem Aydın Düzgit to present the award winners there with their awards.
Toplu fotoğraf için sizi
Now we are bringing them together for a family photo.
hepinize teşekkür
Thank you, everyone. Distinguished guests, now we are going to be listening to the speeches of the winning parties. Now, first of all, we are going to be listening to the speech of Uğur Aytaç, who could not be with us tonight.
Merhaba.
Hi. I would like to thank the jury for giving me the award and the Sabancı University and the Sabancı Foundation who made this award foundation possible. Social media platforms and their effect on democratic and public domains is the theme of my study. Expression of speech, public discussion mediums, and political opinions expanding in the public. These are seeing a great effect by the social media, and the legal professionals and political philosophers think on how to regulate these with the academic debates and discussions that they carry out. One of the important aspects of these studies is that the decision-making processes of the social media platforms and making them more democratic, both the citizens as well as other stakeholder groups, them being integrated in the decision-making processes of social media platforms and giving them the right of speech. This approach to democratization has been recommended with another alternative paradigm in the study. My argument is that in order for social media platforms to create and operate a healthy public domain, it is not enough on its own to democratize these social media platforms. Additionally, those who own and manage those social media platforms, the companies, their reason of existence, their reason d'etre need to be opened for discussion. One of the consequences that I have reached is in order to create and operate a healthy public domain, the reason of existence of these companies should be transformed into societal values rather than a profit-seeking entity. In the second part of the study, the social media companies' transformation around public values, once this reform demands two different aspects, how they should interact with each other is being discussed. And I believe that the study that I have carried out, as well as the argument that I have discussed, is going to have a small contribution, albeit small, to the rising democratic debates in Turkey and across the world, because social media platforms are arbitrarily being censored in the democratic deeds and discourses of citizens, and social media platforms having a democratic governance and these being freed of both the authoritarian regimes as well as the business world, or at least having the opportunity to be able to dream of it, is going to enhance our capability to build a world where our democratic capabilities to express ourselves are higher and better. Thank you.
Kendisine teşekkür ediyorum.
We would like to thank him. And now I would like to invite the other article winner, Mr. Cenk Özbey.
Merhabalar. Sakıp Sabancı Uluslararası
Hi, it is a great honor and a source of joy for me to be awarded the Sakıp Sabancı International Research Award, and I would like to thank both the esteemed jury and the Sabancı Foundation. I have been conducting researches and writing books and articles for a long time with the aim and motivation of reducing social inequality in Turkey, to increase diversity, inclusiveness, and equality of opportunities. And I believe that good sociological research should have a transformative energy as well as documenting different levels of social reality with thinking, researching, and writing to achieve a freer and more democratic society. In line with this goal, this year's prize-winning article, which has not yet been published, interprets two controversial topics, sexuality and religiousness, piousness, based on historical, cultural, and political data. And from the end of the Ottoman Empire to the first decades of the Republic, and from the aftermath of World War II to the present day, the article in question deals with a mutual not seeing, not knowing, not relating, and not associating between social groups that have made religion the center of their lives and sexual minorities. And for me, this represents a state of civilized indifference based on mutual respect, and this state of mutual exclusion which appears and lives in everyday lives, popular culture, urban space, and political discourses, and which citizens are aware of, is like the previous step before acceptance, adoption, and ownership. With this quality, it expresses a value that we need to protect and preserve for social peace and tranquility. And in this article, I explain with some examples that I find it very important not to interfere in the lives of others, even if it's in the form of ignoring a collective state of disinterest with a framework of respect, and underline that some recent political actions and hostile discourses should not and already cannot disrupt this mutual silent reconciliation that we have been preserving for a very long time. And on the contrary, in the spirit of the times that we live in, I have also included a good and positive examples that go beyond a rigid identity politics and polarization, accepting and stretching differences, taking into account the dynamics that mix and hybridize identities and make them more intersectional. I'm grateful to my partner and family, my colleagues and students, the administration of Sabancı University, and our faculty for allowing me to carry out my academic work. I would like to also pay tribute to the late Fuat Keyman, who never withheld his warm support.
Çok teşekkürler.
Thank you very much. Finally, I would like to invite to the stage Mr. Vafa Ghazavi to deliver his speech.
It's a great honor to receive the Sakıp Sabancı International Research Award for my essay, Restless Freedom in a Broken World. I'm very grateful for the vision of the Sabancı University Board of Trustees in endowing this prize, and to this year's jury for its recognition of my work. I was nervous, but then I noticed that one of my heroes is here, Wendy Brown, so I'm even more nervous now. But anyway, the theme for 2025, realigning values in a transforming world order, what needs preserving, reevaluating, and redefining, could not be more timely or important, I think. Some of the reasons for this are rather obvious. One reason that is perhaps less apparent is that I think we are living in a period marked by a crisis of social and moral imagination, a diminished capacity to envision what our collective life could become in the future. Here I'm thinking in the shadow of giants like Jeff Mulgan, another hero of mine, and my former teacher, Roberto Mangabara Unger. This crisis of imagination extends from local and national life through to the international and global realms. and it requires, I think, a serious intellectual response. The stakes are incredibly high. How can we create and sustain a world order guided by humanity's highest ideals, justice, equality, fraternity, solidarity, freedom, if we cannot creatively envision what such an order could be? This is central to my work as a political theorist, but it is, or it should be, the burden of the social sciences writ large. This task requires not only deep thought and commitment from scholars, but also wider support and recognition of their endeavors. Scholarship that is bold and ambitious, the kind that contributes to growing our imaginative resources, is hard to do. It requires taking intellectual risks to break out of status quo and faddish thinking. This is why I think the award we're celebrating this evening is invaluable. It is emblematic of how we can back ideas that seed better futures, ideas that open new paths of social and moral transformation. In my work, I seek to reconnect the individual citizen and their inner spiritual life, even, with the collective project of building a more just and equal world, one in which all people can flourish. In my essay, I claim that an integral part of a good life is to challenge the global harms or injustices in which one is entangled. Deep freedom, I claim, demands we grapple with our social reality and play our own part in world building. My argument has ancient roots in the work of Plato and Aristotle, but today we must find new ways to flourish in an interconnected world. Whether it is the city dweller curbing their carbon emissions, the professional infusing their work with social purpose, the scientist contributing to discoveries in a lab, the artist who inspires and elevates us, the street-level bureaucrat who sustains civic infrastructure, or the teacher who educates their students, our localized actions now have global ramifications. At the very least, we must be constantly open and alert to such possibilities. Imagination is critical to making these connections. Thank you again for this tremendous honor.
Değerli izleyiciler,
Distinguished participants, as you know, Sakıp Sabancı International Award Ceremony also grants the Jury Special Award to one very valuable scientist who made the highest contribution. In order to announce the Jury Special Award, I would like to invite Ayşe Betül Çelik, the head of our jury, to the stage, please.
Değerli misafirler,
Distinguished participants,
jüri özel ödülü
the Sakıp Sabancı International Research Jury Special Award was established in 2012 to honor distinguished academics who have made lifelong contributions to the field of social sciences. This year, as it has been the case every year, the award was selected from among the nominees chosen by the jury members to be given to the person who has made the most valuable contribution to the theme of the year throughout his or her career. We are here today to honor an extraordinary scholar who has profoundly influenced contemporary political and social thought, whose critical analysis has challenged hegemonic paradigms and eliminated the complex relationships between power, democracy, and freedom.
bu çok değerli
This distinguished scholar is Professor
ekonomi, kıta felsefesi, kültürel teori
who
ve eleştirel hukuk teorisi
taught
alanlarında çalışan bir
in the field of history of political theory, feminist theory, contemporary critical legal theory. And in 1983,
doktora derecesini aldı.
she received her PhD in political philosophy from Princeton University. And currently, she is the head of UPS Foundation Chair. Well, before joining Berkeley, she taught at the University of Williams College, and she's best known for her critical analysis of power structures, political identity, citizenship, and political subjectivity in contemporary liberal democracies, blending the ideas of Marx, Nietzsche, Weber, Freud, and school theorists, Foucault, and contemporary continental philosophers. In recent years, her work has focused particularly on how we can respond to the climate crisis.
İngilizce olarak yayımlanmış ondan fazla
Her
yazarı, ortak yazarı.
She has prominent books in English, and their number is more than 10. Her work has been translated more than 20 languages, and she gives conferences in international summits, and she has also been awarded as the visiting scholars with prestigious scholarships. Columbia University, Cornell University, Birkbeck College, University of London, and the London School of Economics have been the universities where she has been the visiting scholar. And in 2021, she was awarded with the Berkeley Citation, the highest honor awarded by the University of Berkeley. Without taking any of your time, I also would like to announce the winner of the special jury prize winner of this year. Professor Wendy Brown is the winner this year.
Profesör Brown'a göre değerler hem
According to Professor Brown, the values
üretmemiz ya da reddetmemiz gerektiğini belirleyen kılavuzlar.
are the guidelines which identifies for us what to reject and what to accept. According to her, the values are identified with a deep nihilism.
Ve modern hayatın giderek daha fazla ticaretleşmesi.
And as the modern life is getting commercialized even further, the human values are dragged into a crisis, and they are being individualized, politicized, and instrumentalized. Values today are shaped more by political identities, slogans, temporary social norms, rather than by deep moral or philosophical foundations. Professor Brown has shown with particular clarity how neoliberalism is more than just an economic system, and it is woven into the fabric of our societies, and how it transforms our democratic values. Her work reminds us that democracy is not just a form of government, but a fragile but indispensable set of practices that must be constantly rebuilt and actively defended. According to Professor Brown, to preserve democracy is not to carry it as a static legacy, but to struggle to constantly renew it, and it should be revitalized and made resilient in the face of new threats. In this process, we need to rediscover the radical potential of core democratic values, such as shared governance, public responsibility, and active citizen participation.
Özgürlüğün yalnızca bireysel değil, aynı
Well, the analysis of Professor Brown shows us that freedom is not only a liberty but a collective responsibility.
toplumsal dayanışma ve ortak kader bilinci çerçevesinde
And the freedom should be evaluated from the social solidarity and a sense of common destiny.
küresel krizlerle sarsılırken
As our world is shaken by such crises, the analysis of Professor Brown will be guiding more than ever. Her work is not only contributing to the academic discussions, but at the same time, it defends the human honor, freedom, democracy, so that we can identify in align with the contemporary realities.
akademik duruşu
With her work and academic stance, we are re-questioning our values, and we, at the same time, re-identify freedom and democracy in line with the realities of this age.
entelektüel cesaret için Profesör Wendy Brown'a
For
Sabancı Uluslararası
her intellectual depth, I would like to present this special jury award to Wendy Brown. So, let's watch our video first.
Democracy is always an unrealized dream. And it's not as if we once upon a time had it and then neoliberalism undid it.
So, today everything is political, everything is branded with a value, but in a sense that cheapens it.
If we don't make a different kind of world, there is no future. So they're the hope.
I'm not going to go through the usual thing where I apologize to them for having, handed this. I'm just going to say I'm with them. We're going to do it together.
Wendy definitely is a political theorist and in Department of Political Science, but to understand her work and who she is, I think one needs to understand the multiple characters that she brings in whenever she thinks and whenever she works. You need to really understand all these characters together, kind of the multiplicity that they form, in order to understand the work of Wendy and all the innovation and all the remarkable creativity that she brings to the field of political theory, but that's because she's not only one, but she's about 4 or 5 of them, so that creates a real powerhouse of 5 Wendy Browns.
I think my work almost always draws from a problem in the present, but one of the things that political theory allows me to do is to draw back from the problem as it presents itself in the present and to reflect it differently, historically, theoretically, even literarily, in a different language and in a different framing than that by which it appears in its everyday sense.
Wendy's work offered me was a rich historical canon, an archive of books, so-called great books. Open those books and that canon up for me to think with, to critique, to play with, to kind of render relevant to the world that I lived in.
Here we are at the Institute, we are coming from diverse backgrounds. So we have anthropologists, philosophers, sociologists, urban geographers. So Wendy's comments cover up all these sort of fields. So she's not a typical political scientist.
That's a really good point. Wendy Brown is a preeminent theorist of liberalism, democracy, and freedom. Her ability to, for example, understand and explain that the state is masculine in her early work, or the way wounded attachments lead not to freedom, but to a very compressed sense of rights, or her analysis of the way neoliberal reasoning undermines democracy. All of the ideas that Wendy Brown has put forth over her many books over the past few decades have fundamentally transformed the way we see the neoliberal state, we understand the neoliberal economy, and we understand the consequences for a decreasing democracy. In fact, we get to understand how it is that the hard right has redefined freedom in the absence of politics. We get to see how the far right has diminished the very concept of freedom.
She's thinking about democracy not as something to be recovered, not as a given that has to be applied, but as something that people participate in to make lives possible and better.
A challenge to debate the norms and to debate normativity as the best way to do democracy. Democracy would be much better if we didn't have to have norms, but we had discussions.
Democratic theory should just be the foundation of political theory, but if you want to parcel it, then I think one could say in the tradition of critical theory, broadly understood, one of Wendy's big achievements is to kind of bring fresh air into the Marxist Frankfurt School tradition by combining it very creatively with other strands of thinking. And also, of course, you could say she, especially if you look at her earlier texts and her magnificent PhD book, Manhood and Politics, that she's also working in the field of feminist philosophy. But I think this is relevant to politics as a whole, this work.
The first is that what Wendy does is she exercises critical, what we call critical theory, forms of critique, to show that some of the norms and values we take for granted are problematic. And for me, that's very, very important, that it's not necessarily about deciding what our new norms or values should be, but to show the ways in which the norms to which we attach ourselves have consequences that may be dangerous.
Well, I don't know if you would know this. I think anybody who took a class with Wendy Brown would know that she's an electrifying teacher. She's also a fantastic mentor. And in every institution of which she has been a part, she has fought against institutional injustice. Few stand up for the public good, as Wendy Brown does.
One of the most significant effects of the neoliberal revolution has been the assault on democratic values and principles and institutions. And that assault comes from the fundamental position in neoliberal thought that everything is best organized by markets and or by the spontaneous organization of morality, but that states and politics for the most part, tend to be interfering in those things in a negative way.
Teaching was an extremely important aspect, has been an extremely important aspect of her practice as a political theorist. I listened to some lectures she gave at Berkeley as an introduction to political theory, because you could, a long time ago, you could download them as quite bad quality MP3 files on the web, and someone had just, without authorization, recorded her lectures and put them online. But it allowed me, a student in Germany, to have a bit of a sense of this power of her teaching as well, and the way in which she was able to bring these classical positions to life, to show what is at stake, and also to show why these texts are still relevant.
Maybe 10 years ago, I took one of her Berkeley lecture courses on the history of political thought by an online course, and I listened to every single one of her lectures, and I learned a ton. And you could see that she is involving students in the history of political thought so that they can start thinking about their own commitments and their own activities.
So a lot of my intellectual passion is really animated by wanting to know, just wanting to understand where are we, who are we, what's going on, and how do we make sense of it.
She listens very carefully. In the seminar, when somebody's giving a talk, we all see this. She sits there, she takes notes, but she's listening. There are other people who tune out sometimes, who look at their at their cell phones. But she's really in there, and her questions are always right on target.
Remember once at an event where the technology didn't work quite as well, and somebody, a colleague, made a brilliant but very sharp criticism of Wendy's work. And Wendy continuously adjusted the microphone so that this critique of hers should be heard better.
I think my advice to young scholars is to hold on to your passions. Let them be trained, let them be reformed, let them be modulated, let them be augmented by your education and by your research, but don't give them up.
One key word to sum up Wendy's contribution, which is huge, would be critique.
She's an intellectual whistleblower.
I would say critique.
Power. A critique of possible laziness in critique.
I think these are power, critique.
It's freedom, unbound, and grounded.
Freedom.
Rights.
Yeah.
I have a number of things that I love to do in life and that sustain me. Family and friends, of course, but also cooking with them and making worlds with them, traveling with them. And I also love being in the wilderness in all kinds of ways, hiking, biking, skiing. Skiing is a huge passion, even though it's climate unfriendly. It's my one, I would say, really guilty pleasure of that sort. And I'm also an open water swimmer and love swimming in every ocean I can find and every lake. even very cold ones. There's a little world of us open water swimmers who are kind of crazy people. We'll go in extremely cold water with one another and come out exhilarated and feeling reborn.
I'd like to say this to you, Wendy. Thank you for being the best kind of intellectual. The kind of intellectual that not only helps us understand the state of the world, but also encourages us to go out and create a world that is more fair, more just, and more compassionate.
Whether we question values, whether we think of a better word than values, that I know she's going to keep doing. And I'm just waiting to see her next response to the catastrophe that we're living through.
There's no one who deserves recognition more than Wendy Brown. And so my personal message for her is, thank you, I am grateful. Political science is grateful for her.
So the personal message is to thank her for the amazing work she's done and enabled us to do. And I think you've heard that from all of us today. And to just keep at it. We need her more than ever now.
I'm very pleased. I'm very honored. I'm also delighted to be coming to Turkey to receive it. And very, very pleased to be hosted by Sabancı University.
We just watched the video. Jury Special Award winner, Miss Wendy Brown. Please, we would like to invite you to the stage.
Şimdi de
And now, I would like to invite the chairwoman of the Board of Founding Trustees and our rector, Mr. Yusuf Leblebici, to deliver the award for Miss Wendy Brown.
Thank you. I offer profound thanks to the Sabancı Foundation and to Sabancı University for this honor, and of course to the jury. The Sabancı family, as I understand them, were business people who understood the importance of accessible cultural life, democratic political institutions, wealth redistribution, and social and religious diversity. Above all, Sakıp Sabancı understood and generously supported open intellectual inquiry and educated development of citizens for a thriving democracy. The Sabancı Research Awards, as well as Sabancı University, strive to protect and elevate these values. And I am deeply honored to join the Sabancı Circle of Award winners. Today, of course, the values I just mentioned well-educated citizens, redistributive political economies, appreciation of diverse cultural and religious practices. All of these values have come into widespread crisis. Long cherished, even assumed, they're now forcefully challenged with their opposites. Democracy itself is in crisis, here and in my own country, among many others. Indeed, many of Sabancı University's students have been courageously standing for democracy in recent weeks, risking their personal freedom to renew and deepen Turkish political freedom. And values, that specifically human production of meaning, which guides our individual and collective actions. Values themselves are in crisis. This predicament, known as nihilism, waiting for the screen to move, has been a preoccupation of mine in my last several books. I've been studying nihilism's historical tributaries and analyzing its contemporary force in both knowledge and politics. Popular understandings of nihilism treat it as an individual attitude in which nothing has meaning or value, especially life itself. But there is a specific intellectual tradition comprising Nietzsche, Weber, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and others, where nihilism is understood as a saturating cultural historical condition specific to Western modernity. The fundamental wellspring of this condition is, of all things, the Enlightenment. In the Enlightenment, religious authority and the values it secures are displaced by science and reason. So why does this produce nihilism? Well, science tells us how things work, but not what their value is. Similarly, reason allows us to calculate and deliberate, to analyze and scrutinize, but not what the inherent value of anything is. So, with waning religious authority, consequent to the rise of science and reason, fundamental values, including the value of truth itself, don't perish, but they lose their foundations, hence their status as absolutes, and they go a little haywire as a result. Knowledge and meaning, and knowledge and value come apart. The value of truth itself comes into crisis. Now, nihilism, as understood by the tradition I'm discussing, is the condition in which we haven't accepted this situation or its implications. Instead of grappling with the human-made quality of values that this condition opens up, we scramble to look for sources of value where it can't be generated. Science, logic, engineering, technology, markets, these are common. Or we retreat to religion as the source of all meaning, engaging in a kind of reactionary orthodoxy. Or we split into two, drawing on religious authority in some spheres of life, while engaging in ruthless, valueless conduct in others. In addition to inciting this hapless search for a new grounding for values outside of ourselves, nihilism also trivializes values as it proliferates, personalizes, politicizes, and commercializes them. This happens because values become devalued as they lose their foundations. They multiply and become cheap. And today, of course, we're used to values everywhere disingenuously used for branding, for profit, or political power purposes. No politician today, no party or corporation is really thought to believe the values they promulgate. Rather, everything is reduced to raw power struggles, with values just used to barely cover this. Nihilism corrupts knowledge as well. Scholars become tempted to fill the nihilistic vacuum in meaning by becoming false prophets and ideologues in their work in the classroom. Or religious positions rather than opening inquiry and modeling curiosity. Amidst a crisis of meaning and value, students often seek such ideology and prophecy from their teachers. They aim to become followers of doctrine rather than independent thinkers. At the same time, science itself becomes so politicized that it loses its worth as a map for analyzing or diagnosing our problems. One other crucial effect of nihilism is boundary breakdown everywhere. As values are cheapened, the basis for boundaries themselves disappear. The result is erosions. Erosions between what is public and personal, between what is theatrical and real, between what is authentic and instrumental, between what is technological and human, between what is scholarly and political. And we see all of these effects today. In the political sphere, we witness disingenuousness, demagoguery, and pure will to power without social purpose. In the sphere of knowledge, we see hyper-politicization and the discrediting of truth. We witness boundary breakdown everywhere. So, how to resurrect or forward the value of values in a nihilistic age? In my view, we have to begin by confronting the fact that values are human-made. Answers of questions, how to live together, what to care for, what to do not emerge from the natural world or the heavens, nor from science or logical deduction. We humans are the meaning makers. We don't discover values outside ourselves, we decide and affirm them. But our human-madeness in no way diminishes the importance of values, quite the opposite. Values are at the heart of human freedom. They are how we determine what world we want to build and live in, how we want to conduct our individual and our collective lives. The fact that they are human-made also does not mean that they are relativistic. Relativism, the notion that all values have equal weight or none at all, is itself a nihilistic symptom, a devaluation of value. The worth of a value claim depends on its correspondence to a compelling account of the world and its capacity to address predicaments in the world. For example, the value of economic growth or wealth creation cannot bracket questions of distribution or damage to either human or non-human life. The human-made quality of values and the importance of measuring them against evidence of their worth and their worldly implications makes universities especially important places to analyze values, not to promulgate them, but to examine and test and debate them. Scholarly spaces with their modest insulation from the rest of the world and their commitment to critical thinking and reflection, they are the ideal places to study the premises, the entailments, and the limitations of any constellation of value. To do this well, of course, requires universities being protected against external influences, religious, political, and economic. And it also requires some knowledge on the part of those trying to figure out values of the field from which values draw and on which they bear. History, philosophy, culture, economics, politics, religion, and science. In short, it requires education that is deep, wide, and rich, the kind regarded by many today as impractical, non-vocational, uncapitalizable. And this brings us back to the Sabancı Foundation, the Sabancı family, and the Sabancı University. Sakıp Sabancı, it seems to me, knew the value of values, the importance of education in developing them. This appreciation is embodied in the research prizes awarded tonight and in the characteristics of the university that bears his name. But now it is up to us to protect such institutions with all the political courage and strategic intelligence that we can muster. They literally harbor the future of democracy and of life itself. Thank you.
Wendy Brown'la konuşması için teşekkür ediyorum.
I also would like to thank Wendy Brown for her speech. We would like to hold her for a while on stage. So, first of all, I would like to invite Güler Sabancı, Sevil Sabancı, Melisa Sabancı Tapan, Yusuf Leblebici, Betül Çelik, Senem Aydın Düzgüt, Meltem Müftüler Baç, and all the award winners to the stage for a family photo.
Çok teşekkürler.
Thank you very much. We kindly would like to hold you on stage for a further while. So, for our family photo, I would like to invite
Çok teşekkür.
Thank you very much. We kind of would like to hold you for a further while on stage. So right now for the family photo, I would like to invite our statesmen and the members of our jury to the stage, please. 25 Sakıp Sabancı International Research Award Ceremony. We would like to thank you very much for attending this meaningful night. We still commemorate Sakıp Sabancı with longing and respect.
Katılımlarınız için
Once again, thank you so much for your attendance, and we wish you a wonderful time tonight.